Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name's Acacia. Today I am going to talk to you guys about a couple things. I'm still really jet lagged. I don't know why, but I am. I went on vacation, and right before I went on vacation, um, Blatantly Bookish and Nargle Catcher, I'll link their channels down below, talked to me and said that they were going to be doing a segment called March Madness, so discussing mental health in the month of March. And of course, I am all game for that. Anytime that I can talk about mental health, I am up and 100% willing to participate. I think that just having the conversation is so helpful in general, and getting a conversation going about mental health in general is so important. So this month is mental health, is March Madness. There we go. And then also it's the Women's Month, so Women's History Month here in the US. So to start off my little videos on March Madness and this month talking about women and empowering and all of those things, I want to do 5 books talking about mental health that are written by women. So the first one I want to talk about is this. This is Buffering by Hannah Hart. Now, I really kind of glazed over this when I first brought it to your attention, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not because I didn't think it was good. I did. I listened to it on Audible, and it was a really, really moving experience. It was it was just jarring to me. It was listening to the story of this family. So Hannah talks about her family and her experience with her mother suffering from schizophrenia, and that was a really hard thing for me to listen to, was to understand and to come to terms with the fact that I am not going to be a normal mother. I am not going to have the same motherly way of doing things as most neurotypical mothers do, because I'm going to have a different kind of brain, and it can sometimes affect the child, and that was really, really hard for me to come to grip with. And this book didn't shake me entirely. There's been other books that have done the same thing over the years, but this one really demonstrated it the most accurately and logically, and just in the most literal sense. It really dives into her experience, her anger with her mother, her frustration with her mother, her love for her mother, her hopes and her dreams, and it also kind of dives into her own struggle with identity and her own life as she came out of the closet. And that also has to do with mental health, I believe, is coming forward and becoming a part of the LGBTQ community in a outspoken way, in terms of coming out of the closet and becoming more active in the community and allowing your identity to become public knowledge, is so mentally draining, I'm sure. And I don't have firsthand experience with it, as far as having to come out as the host. Some of my parts are homosexual, but I never had to come out the same way that a person with a single identity would have to. And so I don't share that experience in the same way, but I do believe that there should be more help in the mental health industry for people who are coming out and trying to become one with their own identity and trying to come to terms with their own identity, because I think there should be more support for them and more understanding for them when they do decide to make their sexual preferences public knowledge. I hope that made sense. Really, basically, I think that coming out of the closet is such a draining and scary experience for anybody, that there should be more help for those people. And I'm not saying that a person who comes out is mentally ill. What I am saying is a person who is coming out is being mentally drained, because there is some really, really hard things that they're going to have to face, and therefore they should be offered help in the mental health industry. The second book that I want to talk about is Girl Interrupted by Susanna Kaysen. Now, this one I've talked about before multiple times, and this is the story of Suzanne, actually. It's her memoir, living in McLean Hospital in the Boston area. And she is suffering from BPD, borderline personality disorder, and she is just talking about her experience in a mental health hospital. Now, this takes place, I believe, in the 1960s, so there is a difference in the way that the mentally ill are treated in this facility than there would be now, I'm sure. But in and of itself, there's a lot of ongoing themes and ideas that still continue to be real to this day, which include being so stigmatized and being so frightened of certain aspects of recovery. Now, there is so much conversation in here talking about what is normal, what is acceptable behavior, what is healthy, what is good, and also how do you become acclimated to society after you leave a mental health hospital, because a mental health hospital is so different from the real world, and you learn so many different things that are so not applied to the real world, and that changes the way that a person can handle their life. And I think that this is a really beautiful a really beautiful story and a really wonderful and moving memoir, and I really think it's important, especially if you're curious about mental health treatment. Then there is Please Stop Laughing at Me by Jodi Blanco. Now, I think I have talked about this before several times, but I've talked about how much it saved me over the years, and I think that for me, the big thing is this talks about bullying. And for me, bullying and mental health go hand in hand because mental health really should be more aware of the effects of bullying. It shouldn't be just boys will be boys, girls will be girls. It should be much more cared for and taken seriously. PTSD is a very real thing that can actually occur from bullying. People can become suicidal, can become depressed, can become completely anxiety ridden and affected for the rest of their lives due to bullying. And so bullying really needs to be nipped in the butt, because it really, really affects a person's life for the rest of their life. And that affects their mental health, which affects how they are treated in the long run as a mentally ill or potentially just mentally unstable person. And I think that this book really talks about that and kind of dives into how bad bullying can get, how awful it can be, and how much it can affect a human psyche. Then I couldn't not mention this. This is Wasted by Maria Hornbacher. There we go. Can't talk. This book is such an important book to me. This is a story of bulimia and anorexia. It is a memoir, and this book actually helped me come to terms with my own identity and my own crisis around food and my own acceptance of my own eating disorder. This book really helped me understand that a relationship with food can sometimes be very unhealthy and sometimes be very detrimental to a person's brain, body, and soul. And also that it's not their fault and it's not something to be ashamed of, and it is something that you need to ask for help on. It also talks about the actual physical responses and effects of bulimia and anorexia and how it affects the body in the long run, in the short term, and how it really can change an entirety of a human. It really, really stands out to me as an incredible memoir, and I think it's always worth a read. But it's very, 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 very dark and very, very hard to get through if you really are not someone who can stomach the kind of really hard to grasp ideas of mental health. That one may be one to steer clear of, because it really does go deep into it and it doesn't shy away from the darker elements. This, though, It does not shy away from the darker elements either, but it does it in a much more cheerful way. This is Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson. I've talked about this so many times. I think you probably are tired of hearing me talk about it, but this is my number one recommendation to anybody who asks me what to read if they are suffering from mental illness, trying to help someone with mental illness, or just want to understand mental illness on a more kind of easy wavelength. The reason I always pick this one is because it doesn't make mental illness into a joke, but it doesn't make mental illness something really scary to try and deal with. It really kind of goes with both. It allows us to laugh at ourselves and understand our own struggles and what anxiety looks like from outside, but what it feels like on the inside, what feelings of, shame can be when you are knowing that you look so different from the outside to other people because of your anxiety. This really, really just holds true, and it really stands the test of time for me. And I think that for me, this has been a crucial piece of literature as far as my own recovery and help. So yeah, 5 books on mental health and mental illness written by women, and I will see you guys in the next video.